Good morning and welcome to Richard Raw's Daily Meditation from the Centre for Action and Contemplation. The theme this week is Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross, two of the great so-called Spanish mystics. And the title of the contribution today is Courage in Times of Trouble. Today is Monday, the 20th of April, 2020. And this is what Richard Raw writes. Tessa Belecki is a Christian hermit in the tradition of the Desert Mothers and Fathers. Co-founder of the Spiritual Life Institute, she was a Carmelite monk and mother abbess for almost 40 years, establishing experimental monastic communities of men and women in Arizona, Colorado, Nova Scotia and Ireland. She has written extensively on the life, spirituality and enduring legacy of Teresa of Avila. Belecki writes that Teresa has much to teach us about suffering, and this is what she writes. For over 40 years, Teresa never spent a single day without physical pain. For most of her life, she suffered such nausea that she vomited daily and couldn't eat until noon. She suffered the little illnesses that afflict us all, colds, headaches, stomach aches, toothaches, and flus. But she also suffered from high fevers, fainting spells, heart trouble, neuritis, tinnitus, her maimed left arm, a 3-year paralysis, severe convulsions, a 4-day coma, and the influenza that almost killed her in 1580, aged her terribly, and left her palsied for the last 2 years of her life. As a result of her experience, Teresa teaches us that poor health is not an obstacle to spiritual growth, but actually enhances it. Why? We learn patience and surrender. We learn how to transcend the body and rise above both sickness and health together. Through this, as in all else, Teresa learned how to let go of her own will and trust in God. She vehemently asserts that we must determine once and for all to swallow death and the lack of health, or else there will be no hope for us. In a letter to the convent at Seville that she had founded, Teresa writes, "Courage, courage, my daughters. Remember, God gives no one more troubles than she is able to bear, and God is with those who are in tribulation." And in a letter to one of her spiritual directors, the Dominican friar Gracian, she reflects, "One must not think that a person who is suffering is not praying. He is offering up his sufferings to God, and many a time he is praying much more truly than the one who goes away by himself and meditates his head off, and, if he's squeezed out a few tears, thinks that that is prayer." Richard Raw then says again, "Suffering, of course, can lead us in one of two directions. It can make us very bitter and close us down, or it can make us wise, compassionate, and utterly open. Our hearts open either because they've been softened or perhaps because suffering makes us feel like we've got nothing more to lose. It often takes us to the edge of our inner resources where we fall into the hands of the living God." Hebrews chapter 10, verse 31. Let us all pray for the grace of this second path of softening and opening.